Hi, this is Jason Anderson, founder of PreVeteran, and welcome to our Welcome Blog 4, which talks about PreVeteran, the new military transition paradigm. Before we go into the new paradigm, let's talk a little bit about the past and the present. And in order to kind of shed light on that, let's talk about what we discussed in the last couple blogs and in the last couple videos. And a couple models kind of come to mind in this regard. The first is Kelly and Connor's emotional cycle of change model. As a reminder, Kelly and Connor's model told us about the 5 different stages humans go through in any major life transformation, such as military transition. We hope this provided you a lot of individual insight into those higher level emotions you might be feeling right now as you plan and prepare for your military transition. The next was the flight profile model, and this is where we really talked about the existing transition system and why it's so challenged. And the bottom line is because it happens in career descent. And what we mean by that is, as you get closer to the end of your career and you've submitted your retirement or separation papers, or you don't plan to extend your contract as an enlisted service member, you are in career descent, which means you're on a timeline. And the reason why it's so challenged, as we discussed in previous blogs, is that you've essentially 3x'd your workload in descent. Let's kind of go over that as a review real quick. Well, you will have your normal day job, you'll have training, potentially deployments, and then of course outside of work you'll have family obligations, so that's your 1x. On top of that, as a 2x, you're also, because you're now leaving the military, having to disentangle yourself administratively from the military, which means you're going to have frequent medical and dental appointments, not to mention a bunch of out-processing actions that you need to do. And then finally, as the 3x on top of that, you're going to have to figure out who you are, what you want to do, create a resume, find a mentor, network, and also do informational interviews. So you can see the problem here. It's pretty clear. You have to do a whole bunch of activity in a very limited amount of time. And also, you're going to have to find yourself kind of prioritizing different things. Are you going to prioritize your day job? Are you going to prioritize disentangling yourself from the military? Or are you going to prioritize having to get ready for your post-military life? So from an individual standpoint, this can lead to a lot of confusion because you have too much to do in too little time. And from a practical standpoint as an individual, a lot of times we've seen in our different interviews with a bunch of people that they aren't sure what they want to do, and a lot of times they'll wait to decide. And some of the more frequent excuses we hear are, I am too busy in life right now, my boss won't let me take TAP, or I'll plan to do most of this transition work and most of my preparation in the 2 to 3 months of terminal leave I've built up. So you can see that can become a bit problematic as you are already in career descent, and then you kind of backload all these different things that you must do in a very short period of time. That's from an individual standpoint. From an aggregate standpoint, this is where we get what we feel is the elephant in the room. That 2-year period we talked about in our first blog and first video that describes the really challenged period, 2-year period following military transition. Now that we've discussed the past and the present, let's talk about the future. Let's talk about the future of military transition, which we believe is the new paradigm in PreVeteran. The way I'd like to walk you through this is the why, the what, and then the how. So the why, we've already kind of alluded to it before, but data shows that there's a 2-year period where there's significant struggles after transition for people that are leaving the military. Specifically, if we want to pick on employment right now, data shows that 90+% of you are going to become employees after military transition. But we know during that 2-year gap, there's significantly high unemployment rates, and then there's also very poor retention in an organization. For example, from a retention standpoint, 50% of people transitioning out of the military will leave their first job within 1 year. 65% will leave that job within 2 years. And as a point of comparison, members of the general public who we can be compared against, that's leaving at a 4 times faster rate than your general public counterparts. And at the heart of this, right, for the why, is we think that you deserve a choice. Right now, I don't know if you feel like you have a lot of choices. Yes, there's a mandatory program you got to take, But we want to be another choice to that, and that is a big part of the why. So now let's talk about the pre-veteran what as far as the new transition paradigm goes. What we really focus on in pre-veteran, and you've heard it in other videos, is self-transformation and early alignment to the private sector. Let's first talk about self-transformation. We believe that self-transformation is an absolutely mandatory thing that has to happen. The reason is you are getting ready to transition into a significantly different environment. So self-transformation will take place, but you'd much rather be on the proactive end of that rather than the reactive end of that. So the next piece of that is early alignment to the private sector. And it's somewhat related to the self-transformation, but the early alignment reflects the fact that they have a little bit different of a system that you're not accustomed to. But you can become accustomed to it if you have the right training and the right environment to kind of learn those things earlier. And then as you align yourself, you can be much more successful post-military. And that's what we're all about. Most importantly, in the what here is these two things really take a significant amount of time. And you have to be proactive about them as well, as we discussed a moment ago. But most importantly, because they do take time, we want to get you much earlier in your career. And we want you to make that choice that it's better for you to self-transform and align yourself with the private sector earlier in your career. And you can see as you align yourself to those things, as you get to your transition, it's far less problematic and you're able to be more successful. So as kind of a focus point, we'd like you to do this 1 to 3 years prior to your anticipated separation or retirement, or you could even do it earlier. So as far as the what, to finish up the what segment here, what we can essentially do with pre-veteran through these different things that we've shown you is let's reflect back to Kelly and Connor's model again, where we've got stages 1 through 5. We can essentially take you from stage 1 to stage 4, which means you're going to avoid the ups and downs of stages 2 and 3, which really eat away at your valuable time and energy resources. So now that you know the why and the what, let's talk about the how. So how we do this is we provide framework, individual tools, and support. So from a framework standpoint, we provide an ecosystem that is designed to be your one-stop shop for military transition. From an individual tool standpoint, this is where we teach you about your internal and external unknowns that you may not even be aware of that you are having right now. When we talk about internal unknowns, these are the things that are going on in your mind that can actually become obstacles to your success. And if you don't address those internal unknowns now or earlier, then it really becomes hard, if not impossible, to address your external unknowns because there's the conflict between the two. And finally, from a support standpoint, it is an ecosystem designed to have like-minded individuals in there who are equally as passionate about and want to be proactive in their self-transformation, early alignment to the private sector, proactive in their approach, not reactive, and everyone there wants to be there. This is a central tenet of our support for pre-veteran. So now that you know the more general side of pre-veteran and the new military transition paradigm, I want to extend a very specific offer. We know through data that 90+% of you are going to become employees after your military transition. So we have an offer for you now. We have an employment prep pilot course that we have on our website. If you navigate to our courses page, we'd like you to go through that now. And depending on what time you're actually going to go to that courses page, you can either sign up outright or you can be put on a wait list. But we encourage you to do that because it really boils down everything we just spoke about with the new transition paradigm and puts it in one course specifically designed to get you successfully employed in a very meaningful career after the military. And be prepared for that. In conclusion, we hope you like this video and the welcome for here telling you about pre-veteran, the new military transition paradigm. If you have any questions or would like to comment at all, please do so below, and we'd love to hear from you. Beyond the commenting below, if you want more information on the broader pre-veteran program and the ecosystem we've described, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel down here on the right side. Also, you can follow us on our LinkedIn company page. And if you have friends, colleagues, or family members who you think could benefit from this content that we're producing, please pass along our name to them. Thank you very much.